We did, and the heartbreaker, as you mentioned, Mike probably describes it as well as anything. But yeah, it was a tough loss, but there was some great efforts, and I was proud of the teams, our resiliency, our toughness on display, our competitiveness, all of that. We just ended up one play short. And credit to Moorhead, that's a good team, and they give a lot of people problems. It was certainly. Well, like I said, it was a great game. It was down to the last play of the game. They hit a walk-off to win it, and they were one play better than us. Yeah, we're playing hard, and I think there is progress being made. There's a couple games there we could have had. Obviously the Bemidji win was a big win. We've been doing a nice job. You mentioned, with the turnover battle, the last 3 games, I think we're +8 in the turnover margin over the last 3 games. There's a lot of positives going on. And there's a couple games there we could have, should have won, in our opinion, So we're right there. I mean, everyone can see, you turn the tape on, everyone can see there's progress being made, and it's evident. I think we're at 6 games. We have 4 games where we've rushed for over 300 yards. I mean, we're doing that with 4 freshman offensive linemen. There's really good things happening. I could go on and on about each phase of the game. I thought our special teams had a great day last Saturday against Moorhead. I mean, Brandon McCary hit 5 field goals, which I think is a school record. We'd like to not kick that many and score a few touchdowns there, and that was a difference in the game as well this last Saturday. But Caleb Schmidt, as our long snappers, is really as good as there is anywhere, and I think Logan's leading the nation leading the conference in punting right now. So we're doing some good things in a lot of places. Evan Norberg had a heck of an onside kick there at the end of the game, and we recovered it, right, and gave us a chance to win down and tied the ball game. So there, in that comeback, I mean, we scored 20 points in the 4th quarter against Moorhead. In that comeback, there was, like I said, there was a lot of heroic efforts all across the board, and it's a total team effort to get to that place. And then that's what does rip your guts out is you fall just a little bit short at the end. Well, like I said, there's no history for any of us here. There's some boosters and alums and some grads that have history. Maybe for a few of our guys' dads or uncles, but like I said, it is we are crossing paths those guys in the recruiting trails, obviously, and for us and Mary and Jamestown all in the same conference now. I think that's great for all of us. It's great for our fans, obviously, and it'll be nice to be at home, certainly. We've been on the road a lot this season. That's another challenge, right? So it'd be nice to be back at home again and in a in-state rivalry game, if you will. Well, yeah, I mean, we have our own internal issues, that's where we always start in our preparations, like what can we do better, what do we need to do better, and then you get deeper into the opponent, and you start game planning and looking at personnel and identification and philosophies, right, and what they're made of. I know that Coach Misha's done a great job there, and they're very well coached, and they play hard, and they present a lot of problems. They're pretty multiple, on both sides of the football, so. That presents a whole different set of problems, and what I do know is they beat Concordia by 11, and we didn't beat Concordia by 11, right? So I think it was 11 at least. So in that case, well, no, we have a formidable opponent, and we're sitting here, with our guts hanging out from last week still, and still feeling the effects of not winning a game that we thought was right there to be had, frankly. So we need to get over that hump. We need to go play well. We need to collectively play well, offensively, defensively, kicking game together, and get back and play how we're capable of playing. And I believe we're capable of playing well. And like I said, hopefully, regardless of Jamestown and anybody else, that's what needs to happen this Saturday. Yeah, we have I'll say the maturation of the offensive line up front continues. I think we're playing hard. I think we're by and large playing well. I think we're getting some good execution at some of the other positions, you know, whether it's at quarterback, Carson reading his way out, managing the offense, and obviously with Evan and Devin, you got some difference makers. They're kind of inside and outside, or thunder and lightning, if you will. And then you got other guys like Gage Kavanaugh, Sam Buchanan, Jonathan Noriega outside, Tyler Johnson, Dylan Hebert. You got guys on those edges that are setting a lot of those edges, and they don't get their names in paper or mentioned as much because they're out there blocking a lot, but they're doing a nice job. And those things aren't happening on accident. You know, it's a we effort, not a me effort. You know, certainly Evan and Devin are getting their bulk of the touches. But everyone else is doing their job well for you know, those yards to accumulate, and last Saturday some points to accumulate as well. Takeaways are huge. You know, certainly we gave up far too many yards and points this last week to help our chances of winning. But we are getting some timely plays and some takeaways. I think our guys are ball aware. I think, you know, we're attacking the football in the air. I think when we get to the football, we're making, you know, we're physical when we get to the ball, and like I said, we're taking shots and ball aware. So that's all in place, and I think we've done a better job. You know, certainly the last 3 weeks we had 3 turnovers or 3 takeaways defensively in each of those games, and you really would say 4 in this last game because we recovered the onside kick as well. That's a takeaway, although it doesn't go down as one in the stats. But those are huge plays, you know. So again, the percentages are, you know, if the turnover margin does matter. The ball is the game, and if we keep doing a good job in that regard, possessing it offensively, which we're airtight the last 2 weeks offensively, maybe even last 2. I think we've turned the ball over 1 time offensively in the last 3 weeks. So, you know, like I said, knock on wood, then we keep doing that, and, you know, like I said, good things are possible. Well, I think I just hit on it. I think we have to continue to do well in the turnover, you know, the turnover battle. Certainly, I believe our guys. I mean, last week is evidence. We always say play with great effort. You know, that's you know, what we have to do. That's our first key to victory, and I think we're playing hard. We do need to execute at a higher level. You know, we need to execute better offensively, defensively, and in the kicking game. And we had 1 turnover as a team last Saturday, and it was on kickoff return, right? So we got to do a better job in the kicking game in all phases of just execution. And if we execute well in the way we're capable of, then and we keep growing up, maturing as a football team, then like I said, we can win any game on the schedule.